Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Odereri. I was so excited to see the budget proposal of Dr. Alex Oti, the Abia State Governor. Very exciting budget proposal. One of the highlights of that proposal is the provision of 35% for education and health, which is very robust. And this is a continuation of his very good focus on boosting education and healthcare delivery services in Abia State, which we are already experiencing the good fortune with the performance of Abia State students and the healthcare centers there. Another thing that really excited me was his provision of about 13 billion naira, which he intends to use to develop agro-parks across selected areas in the south, in the state. And this is also in line and in tandem with our advocacy over the last 7-8 years, appealing to the Southeast governors. It's very easy to create wealth using the lowest hanging fruit, which is agro-industrial revolution. We've had over the last 11, 12, 14 years, governors coming up with all manner of ideas. The governor will come and tell you, oh, I'm driving agro-revolution. We are doing palm trees. What is the outcome? Two of the most profitable companies today listed on the floor of the exchange that have constantly declared dividend over the last 15 years is Okomo and Presco. Okomo and Presco were former government developed assets that were later privatized. Other palm and the other public sector held old species palm plantations are not bearing fruit because we have refused to cut out the old trees and revamp the place. On an average, I'll give you an example of what we can do. In 1965, Nigeria controlled 45% of the global palm oil market. Today, that market is $72 billion sized, 85% controlled by Indonesia and Malaysia. If Nigeria had maintained 45% control of the global market, today we would have been exporting nothing less than $88 billion worth of that product across the value chain. Today, we practically consume 2.3 million tons and we produce only 1 million tons. We are not even domestic self-sufficient. We're importing palm oil from Côte d'Ivoire and from the Republic. And the governor, I want to encourage him and appreciate him and to say, okay, these are things we can do. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And it's going to be driven by what I classify classically as the missions, diaspora, community, private-public partnership arrangement. Governor and governments cannot drive development alone. They need private sector help. Abia State today has 184 electoral ward. Let me give him one of the lowest hanging fruits, one cash crop that we can use to experiment on this MCDPPP, the palm tree, the Denera super gene, the ones that can produce about 30 tons of fresh fruit bunch by year 4, year 5. You can intercrop it with yam, grow bars, other things that can give you cash crops, can give you cash within the short term while we wait for the palm tree to grow. Out of the 184 electoral ward, most of them are in the rural areas. Abia State government can decide, okay, working with local government chairmen who are autonomous, ask each of the communities to provide 50 to 100 hectares of their land for pilot scheme. We are going to support you guys. Southeast Farms, interestingly, is also partly owned by the Abia State government through their PPP office. It's a PPP venture that we entered into in 2016 to be able to relieve the visions of Dr. Michael Okpara, in building agro wealth, putting affordable food on the table of every indigenous of Abia State and the old Eastern Nigeria. So basically, what do? They will provide that land. Let me tell you what we're going to. We've actually started purchasing those machines. We've gotten some machines. We have a massive work we are doing at Okwa West. When we are ready, we invite the governor to come there and see it and commission it. We are bringing in mini tillers that cost nothing less than 3-5 million naira each. So we are going to be setting up mechanized centers in every electoral ward in Abia State. It's a part of our contribution to that focused government. So all they need to do is ask local government working with communities. Let every electoral ward donate 50 to 100 hectares of their land. We will provide them with mechanized tillers that can help us till that land. In fact, to till 50 hectares of land with mechanized tiller is something that can be done in 20-25 days. So their job is the committee that they will donate their land, 50. They own it. In fact, the tree belongs to them. They will provide the land. We will help them to clear the land. They will donate their sons, their sons and their women, those who they will own it 1 hectare. If it's 50 hectares, 50 persons, 100 hectares, 100 persons. So our job is to help them once they've cleared the land, we'll help them to till it. We will supply them with the Tenera species and Super Gene species. It's vendor financing. We are producing it. We'll give it to them on credit because we are going to recover it when we start buying up what they produce under an offtake arrangement, because there must be an offtaker for whatever they produce. We'll also set up cottage factories to process what they produce. Let me tell you what this thing will do. In every electoral ward, if you have 50 to 100 hectares, let us even start with 50 hectares. They will clear the hectares. Private sector people who have land can also do it to work with them. We will supply them with the Super Gene Terra sprouted nuts, trees, for them to use to plant. They will also supply agronomists that will teach them on what to do. We will plant those things. It's vendor financing. They are owing us because we didn't pick those things from the street. Now, within the short period, we can help them also teach them how to intercrop things like tomatoes, pepper, yams in grow bag, potatoes, things that can help them to raise short-term fund while we wait for the trees to grow. Basically, if we do this into the next farming year that we're going to do, remember what we said, private sector, we're going to supply them with the machines, where we'll provide them with we'll lease the machines for them to use to till that land and to prepare it. Let me tell you what will happen. In the next 3, 4, 5 years, from every electoral ward, the average yield of a hectare of the Tenera and Super Gene is between 15 tons to 30 tons per hectare at full production at CA6, CA7. But within the first 4 or 5 years, let us even use 15 tons as fresh fruit output. Currently, a fresh fruit bunch, a ton of a fresh fruit bunch of the palm tree goes for about 150 to 180,000. What this will basically do that the yams in grow bag in every hectare where we have planted those this we can actually do up to 10,000 tubers of yam in grow bags, or we can do other crops that they want to do. We will support them, and everything they are producing will buy it off them. We'll provide offtake and create a market because the demand is huge. So the farmers already know that whatever they are going to produce, we'll give them the input seedlings. We'll also buy up everything. Now, within the next 2, 3 years, in every of the electoral ward, maybe 2, 3, 4 electoral ward, we will set up cottage factories that will process everything that are going to be producing. That simply means we will offtake all their fresh fruit bunch to produce palm oil, palm kernel shell that is grounded to use to produce furniture and other things. Now, let me tell you what we'll do. From every electoral ward, if we do 50 hectares, by the 4th year, in fact, from the first year alone, from yam alone and other intercrop things, they can make as much as 50 to 100 million naira every year to sustain them. But from the 4th, 5th year, when the palm fruit, from the 3rd, 4th, 5th year, when the palm fruit start producing, from the palm fruits alone, if they decide to sell the fresh fruit, of course they will sell to us of taking it. There's no electoral ward in Niger State that will not make at least 112 to 224 million naira every year just selling fresh fruit bunch to us, while we will now process it into palm oil, palm kernel oil, and even bleach it into vegetable oil. So this alone, from the palm value chain alone, Abia State government can generate not less than 60 billion naira into the 4th year. But every year, from every of the electoral wards, we will generate nothing less than 80 to 120 million naira from the intercrop things like the yam, like in grow bags, like the potato, like the habereno. In fact, interestingly, some of the food processors in Nigeria, like Tiger Food, will even take most of the peppers for they use it to produce their distillate and export. So we will be creating an annual basis from from each cluster, and that simply means we will have about 50 to 100 jobs, direct jobs. We're not talking about peanut jobs. Each of these guys who own these clusters, each hectare, we make nothing less than at least, there is no person that owns a hectare that cannot make at least, even if we use the lowest production of 15 tons, that cannot make at least 2.2 million naira. Somebody who lives in the village that grosses 2.2, 2.5, 4 million naira every year is not a poor person, based by every indicator. So Abia State have started. We want to support the governor, support this commissioner for agri, and every one of them. We will help them, we will provide them all the support if they are willing. Self-Apco also, they are part owners of Self-Apco. Other states, if my state team wants to go along, we will support them. If Ebonyi wants to do along, we can support Ebonyi. Beyond even yam and palm, we can even support Ebonyi. Do 63,000 hectares of the rice plantation under the same MCDPPP framework. They are not bringing a couple. All they need to do is to put a structure in place, help the communities to put infrastructure where they are going to have those clusters. Local government chairmen, this is their own role. They'll provide industrial borehole in those clusters, provide security for those communities and all those stuff. We will provide the mechanized support, provide the seedlings, offtake everything they purchase, and provide them with agronomy support and technology to enable them produce. If we do this in the 5 southeastern states, we will generate nothing less than $5 to $10 to $20 billion within the first 4 years and ramp it up to over $100 billion. These things I've said now, is it so difficult to do? It's the easiest thing to do. It has been done elsewhere. The Copado model in Italy, in the Netherlands is being done. And interestingly, those areas do not have the kind of natural blessings that we have, the right rainfall, the right sunshine, and we can easily do all these things. The technology is something we can easily procure. The funding, very easy to raise. We have diasporas and private sector investors of Umuibo, who, if we put the structures in place, because every ward will have a cooperative arrangement, we'll have subscribers, everything will be so transparently done. We will create massive jobs, create massive security, create massive wealth and labor, and we'll build up the economy of the GDP of the old 5 southeast of Nigeria from the current $55 billion to over $500 billion over the next 5 years. We are here to support. Thank you. God bless. Share this thing. Let it get to them. My people perish for lack of knowledge. We, as the Josephs, knows how to tell them their visions, interpret their visions, and help them to execute it. We all appeal for them to seek help, and we'll help them. Thank you, and God bless.